It is finally that time to start putting together our vision boards for this year. In this video, we're gonna go over everything you need to set up for a great vision board experience. And we're also gonna get into some tactical tips on where to find images, how to put the whole thing together, and some design tips to make your vision board look aesthetically pleasing in your unique way. So the first thing we need to do is set the stage, and that involves costumes, it involves craft services, we need snacks, we need to set the stage so that it is in alignment with our vision for our vision board. We have a big checklist of things to go through, and I'm gonna start by cleaning up this space. But before I do that, I thought I would show you my costume. I decided to go with something comfortable, classic, chic, and if you want to think about this for yourself, choose something that you feel like if someone were to create a cartoon of you, what would you want to be dressed in? And so this is what I went with. Comfortable jeans, my comfiest jeans that are still, a little bit stylish, just a simple black top. I have the little French touch that I love with the scarf and just some simple loafers, house loafers, because I'm in the house. I'm not going to wear heels. So think about what that outfit might be for you.
The first thing that I'm doing is cleaning my space so that it is free of clutter and visual distractions. I'm doing my vision board session in my office, but you may want to do some location scouting for yours. Just like choosing a costume or an outfit that best aligns with your style, our set or our surroundings can help us better cultivate the year we'd like to have. Depending on what speaks to you, you may want to consider setting up outside or going to a coffee shop, the library, or my favorite, a beautifully designed hotel lobby. Bring as many of your favorite things into your environment as possible. I opened up one of my coffee table books and picked up some fresh flowers. Not just any old bouquet, but purposely selected these particular eucalyptus stems and ranunculus in this deep purple color. My mom had just picked up a bouquet of flowers for me as well, so I added those to my side table for some extra cheer. Next, I lit some of my best loved candles for ambiance and scent. Here I'm using a Capri Blue volcano candle in this beautiful mercury glass holder, and the mid-century modern scent from Anecdote Candles, which smells incredible, a mix of cozy vanilla and sophisticated hints of lavender, jasmine, and orange. Of course, I brought in popcorn, my favorite snack. You shouldn't expect anything less from a movie lover, and a hot cup of peppermint tea. Every one of those details matter, so get as specific as you can about the choices for your vision board production. Lastly, we each need a good soundtrack, so I brought in my record player from downstairs and cleared some space for it. I went through my albums and chose this one by the Platters. It is dreamy and romantic and brings me back to my favorite era. And with that, I'm ready to begin. I would love to hear about what you included or are planning to include in your vision board setup. Here's your production checklist. You can feel free to screenshot and save. Share with us in the comments. What are you wearing? Where is your setting? What props did you use to dress your set? What snacks and drinks did you choose? And what music are you listening to?
And once you have set your scene, the last thing you need to do is grab your computer.
As much as I love being alone and introverted, our goals and dreams have a much better chance of coming true if we share them with our loved ones. This step is optional, of course, but you may want to consider creating your vision board with a group. Family, friends, your church community, or even virtually over a video chat. I need to give proper credit to my friend Kaylin, who led me and our other friend and mastermind partner Lauren through a vision boarding session just like this a few years back. I had created vision boards before, but when Kaylin led us, somehow it felt more purposeful. It made me see the power in setting strong intentions and having the accountability to know that I would see them through. This year, I was lucky to have my mom and dad in town and asked them if they would like to share in the vision board experience with me. I broke my session into two, doing the beginning steps on my own, and continued it alongside them. Of course, we had to set the stage again. We popped some good champagne, we put out flowers and a spread of snacks, and got cozy on the couch. Creating a vision board can and needs to be a personal experience. So, if working in solitude feels better for you, be sure to find another way of sharing your finished board with someone trusted in your life, even if it's only one other person. There are always people around who are willing to help, and sharing your vision board is a great way to open the door to opportunity. If you're like me, you're probably anxious to get into the visuals, but I encourage you to take a bit of time to do some writing first. I have goals and dreams written in a couple different places, so I brought along my full focus planner and my notes app. If you have a journal, you may want to flip through that as well. If you're starting from scratch, take a few minutes or hours and jot down a few items or experiences that you want to come into your life. I was giggling sharing this practice with my parents because it really showcased their unique personalities. In this step, my mom shared another micro exercise with us, which included going through a list of nouns that might speak to us and talking deeply about each one, while my dad opened up a Word document on his laptop, typed in 3 short goals, and proclaimed, "Okay, I'm ready." The entire process took him less than 60 seconds. Neither of those approaches are wrong. At the risk of repeating myself, this is a highly personal activity. Don't feel like you need to follow my 7 steps to the letter. Lean into your individual style and make them your own. Before beginning, I like to set up a folder on my computer where I plan to save my images. Next, I open tabs on my computer and begin image searching. I primarily used Pinterest, but you can search on Instagram, Google Images, or Tumblr. You may even want to include images you've taken yourself, shots of family or friends, or if you're an artist, a piece that you created. In sharing this experience with my dad, who had just that day set up a Pinterest account, it made me realize that Pinterest searching yields a lot of text-heavy graphics, which they're great, but having too many of them on your board may start to look cluttered. Another roadblock that my dad ran into was that Pinterest is very female-focused, and he was having a hard time finding images that spoke to him. It reminded me of a few more spots to search for images without text. Free stock photography sites like Pexels or Unsplash, or if you belong to premium sites like the ones that I use, Hotstock or Stocklean, you can search and save for images from there as well. I will link to all 4 of those sites in the description below. It may be a little bit different depending on your device, but in most cases, you can right-click or option-click on top of your image and then select Save As or Save To save any of your images to your designated folder. And you also have the option of taking a screenshot and then moving that image into your folder after. I encourage you to gather up more images than you think that you'll need so that you can curate your list down and hone in on the best ones, which we will get to in the next step. To give you a guideline, the vision board template that I'm using holds 12 images, but I saved around 50 images to my folder. The last tip I want to share for your image searching is to not be so literal. You can use your goals and your wishes list as a starting point, but I encourage you to use images that go off script. Do some improvising. If an image speaks to you because you like the tone or the vibe, but you're not sure exactly how it aligns with your goals, save it anyway. If you've not yet seen the video that I shared about my 2022 vision board results, I'll link to that below. In it, I give some examples of how I selected a few images purely based on a gut feeling and how they ended up impacting my year in a profound way. Now that you have a big folder of images to choose from, you can begin placing them on a board or boards, which will ultimately become your desktop or device wallpaper. One more optional step you may want to take is to put your images into subfolders. I chose a bunch of different options for each of my goal categories, and I found it a bit easier to navigate by having them separated. When it comes to designing your board, you have a few options. I created a signature layout with space for 12 rectangular images and room for my word of the year and a phrase to appear in the center. If you've purchased my Vision Board Toolkit, this layout and template is included and will work in Adobe InDesign, Photoshop, and Canva. And if you're watching this in January and you've not yet purchased the Vision Board Toolkit, now is a great time to do it because it is on sale through the end of the month. I'll link to that in the description below. But if you'd like to set up a board on your own and come up with a layout that works best for you, you can do so in Canva, a free program that I will link to below as well. You'll want to select the desktop size to get set up for your desktop wallpaper, and a second or maybe a third document for your mobile devices. All three sizes are included in the Vision Board Toolkit. From there, you'll begin importing your images and dragging them onto your layout. Here you can see me using my signature 12-image layout to create my 2021 vision board. Don't worry, I'm going to give you an in-depth look at the board I'm working on now, my 2023 board, in next week's video. So make sure you're subscribed if you'd like to take a peek at it. Whether you're using my templates or creating your own, here are some design tips to take into consideration. Only use the images that speak most to you. For most of us, but especially the introverts, a board that is overstuffed with too many images will feel overwhelming and will lose sight of what matters. Pare your selection down to the absolute best ones. Your board should also reflect your personal aesthetic. Without fail, every year I have an image or two that I am positive needs to be included. Like last year, I found this great image of a theater. It is lovely and red, but it clashed with all of the other images on my board. Now, I realize that not everyone watching this is a designer, and something like this might not bother you, but I knew that I was going to be looking at this board all year, and that image was going to distract me because it didn't fit the vibe. So I swapped it out for a different one. You'll notice that when I swapped it, I also moved things around. Where you place your images can be just as impactful as what you place. There's no science to your placement, but here are a few things to be mindful of to give your board a designer look. Don't have too many images touching that are too alike. For example, don't place two black and white images next to one another if the rest of your board is in color. If you have images that include figures, try to have them face inward towards the center of the board. And lastly, take some time to play around and tinker until your board feels balanced and harmonious. If you're not a designer but you have one in your life, show it to them and see if they may offer some suggestions for tweaking your layout. In the templates I created for my Vision Board Toolkit, I left space for your word of the year and a phrase, lyric, or saying that you love. If you're not familiar with the practice of choosing a word of the year, I share tips for selecting one, using one, and my experiences and magic of choosing one in this video that you can access in the description below. If you're going to include some text on your vision board, choose fonts that fit your vibe and personal style. Many of you know that I have an affinity for typography, so if you're looking for some guidance in that area, I will link to my series of font guides that I've shared over the years on my other site, Elegance and Enchantment. Once your boards are complete, you can export them and save to your computer either as a JPEG or a PNG file. From there, you can assign them as wallpaper to your devices. I love saying that vision boarding is the laziest way to manifest. We all look at our devices way too much, so if we're going to spend so much time with our eyes glued to the screen, let's make sure that we're looking at the things that we want to come into our lives. If you want to elevate your vision board experience, I also include an exercise that you can use to accelerate your efforts, which is included in the Vision Board Toolkit. As a reminder, you can purchase that using the link in the description below, and it is on sale through the end of January.
Thanks so much for joining me in this vision boarding experience. Next week, I'm going to have the big premiere of my vision board. I'm going to show you all of my images. I'll share the background behind why I chose them, what I'm working toward this year, and of course, revealing my word of the year. So if you're not yet subscribed, hit that subscribe button so that you won't miss it. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. It's a really easy way to support the content that I create, and it means more than you know. If you share your vision board somewhere online, whether it's your Instagram or if you have a blog or you have your own video, please link to that in the comments. I love looking at people's vision boards. I love hearing your word of the year and what you're working towards this year. And I'm sure that other people in our community would love to do the same.